I arranged a little ruse to scare my co-host Jonah, and some other kids at our program here just came and gave him a little scare. What'd you think about that?
That was, yeah, the best surprise that I could get. A little bit unexpected, but yeah, it lives up to the theme.
You don't even have time to scream.
That is what I think Halloween is kind of all about. It's about ghastly, ghouly things. However, it's really about having fun. That's the thing. And you know, when I think of fun, I think of a lot of places where you can go trick or treating. And I found one great place to trick or treat is Burkeville on Sea Island in Richmond. Now, I chatted with Tomas Ravotsi, president of the Sea Island Community Association, about what events they'll be hosting this year.
The houses along the front lines, so to speak. I hope I'm not making too many military sounding references here, but basically the entrance where people would first show up in our neighborhood, those houses get in excess of 1,000 kids coming to trick or treat. Like around 1,200 is, I think, the number that we had reported. That's the highest number we've heard approximately. And so my house is set back a little bit, so it's a few streets back. And even here, I get between 500 and 700 kids on the night.
Yeah, so that's a interesting and very informative comment from your interviewee, and I just learned that that is a very small community, and Burkeville is a place where that was built in like 1940s after World War II during the World War II for people who make airplanes to stay and just find housing.
Yeah, I mean, talk about going all out. I mean, I live currently in Marpole, and there's not as many trick or treaters. Like, I think my house would get maybe 7 trick or treaters each year. Like, the fact that they're getting 700 to 1,200 trick or treaters is just kind of mind blowing to me.
Yeah, so there must be a lot of children. Did he say anything about like how he manages that place or how he keeps it safe?
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors when it comes to Halloween, of course. Arranging where everyone will be walking, and, safety and driving is a lot of things to consider. So, pretty much what Mr. Tomas said was that they're trying to not have cars in Burkeville. They're just trying to have it pedestrian only, and they're preparing for outside visitors because it's become such a hot spot.
Put mitigation sort of measures in place. So we have traffic control that the city offers us. I think the RCMP also, their traffic authority department also comes to help to control traffic. We have a system of, we experiment with different kinds of systems and different kinds of traffic management plans. But essentially, we kind of have, we try our best to pedestrianize the neighborhood on that night, meaning we provide free parking at BCIT just across the street at the aerospace campus. Again, that's in part thanks to YVR's kindness there, so we're really grateful for that. And there's a walking path right from BCIT, right beside the City of Richmond's fire hall, and it's decorated by city staff, and that leads directly to our neighborhood and to our park. And the park is where our association, we do actually put on a fireworks display at 8:15 or so in the evening. And we fund that, but often at a loss. So that's one thing that, if you don't mind, I'll put in a little plug here. If you do plan to come and visit Burkeville, you may see donation QR codes around the neighborhood. So any support, any donations that you can provide are very welcome. They really help us out because we are a nonprofit organization here.
I do find it so interesting that's all community run, and if people are commuting there, I mean, I think it's nice if they help out, because they're attending this event just like any other.
Yeah, I think it was very fascinating that all the community members are doing their best to keep it safe, and then for the Halloween, and then how statistically, a lot of people, have died trick or treating, like especially children age from like 4 to 8 die the most on Halloween night around like 5 to 9 p.m. Normally people go for trick or treating, and then a lot of cars are coming by. So like Burkeville, I heard that they're trying to pedestrianize the neighborhood, And also in Vancouver, Lucy Maloney, the Vancouver councillor, suggested a motion that um, they should be the neighborhood should be able to host a block party to keep the cars off the street so that they can go trick or treating. And
So when I referred to
I mean,
accessibility in the motion, I'm referring to making it easier for people to apply for and receive block party permits, but also at the moment, people are required to hire their own barriers to close the streets, and that makes it difficult for some people to be able to organise block parties because they might have to travel to South Vancouver to pick up the barriers and return them. So that rules out a lot of people that if they don't have a car to transport the barriers.
That's great. I think you have to, when you're taking into consider the amount of people that these parents really only and community members are trying to organize, it's hard to find people who are accountable. So being accessible to safety is really the main thing.
yeah, I also agree with you, Thomas, because a lot of children, they go out trick or treating and they're in costumes, and then it's kind of hard for them to like focus on safety as well. They're like preoccupied with getting treats and like knocking on people's doors. I think this is very important to kind of secure that area and then make it car free so that they can go freely and they can go free from one place to another. And then so I think that's something that we can call a good change for the Halloween, actually.
To my presence, for I may take out my aggressions on you next time.
I wanted to ask you something. How do you normally celebrate your Halloween? What was it like during your childhood?
Oh, thanks for asking. Yeah, so my childhood, I would always go out trick-or-treating, and my parents would come with us. We didn't get many trick-or-treaters on our block because it was across from a street from the park, and we were the only house that gave out candy. But there was a little stuff every few blocks or so. There were houses that would decorate. It would just be a lot of walking, and we'd bring my dog, and me and my sister would go out, and it was really fun. But
Yeah, so like I think like walkability is also a huge issue actually, because when I think of my home country in Korea, I'm not from around here. They have like very tightly like highly populated apartment buildings, like 400 people live in one building. So it's very hard for them to go out trick or treating. And in terms of culture, like we weren't always celebrating Halloween. It was more about like we were more like conservative on that issue. But after like more foreigners started to come to Korea, Halloween became more known to people, and I think that's when people started to like dress up.
And that brings me to my next point, is Halloween is more than just a celebration. You get to interact with so many people. You get to know all the kids in the neighborhood. Although I didn't know many people in the neighborhood that I was living in, when I became a teenager and I started going to my friends' neighborhoods, there was a lot more going on. And then I could see that everyone knew each other. And it was quite, it was quite an amazing experience knowing that people were looking out for each other. And now, when I went to one of my close friends' communities, they have a really awesome Halloween lane, they call it. So pretty much all the kids from the neighborhood come to this lane, and people give out candy from, instead of their front door, their back door, and in the lane, in their garage, and they always go all out. So I actually decided to go speak to one of the residents and someone who decorates for Halloween there. Her name was Hillary Tarver, and she's been living there for 40 years, and she has been decorating for about 15 years with the rising popularity of this.
Because we all socialize back and forth across the lane anyway, which is nice. And it's nice because you don't have to jump up and down from the front door, and the kids love it. We have a reputation. I think 1 year, the maximum we've probably had is 1,500 That's including the parents. And so what we do is the first part of the lane is the non-scary part, like the younger children's part. And
Yeah.
then we have a sign up and we warn them it's going to get scary.
Okay.
And that's the fun part to watch because, yeah, the little kids, they're like, oh, no, I'll be fine. And then they come back scared. But
Yeah, it seems like they organize a neighborhood so that people can go from like one stage to another of like enjoying the Halloween. What about like experience that children can have? Like, did she say anything about that?
Yeah, so it's a great experience because they're all walking down one lane and the neighbors really come together to make this a great experience for all the kids. It's a great way to get to know your neighbors, know their names, and really connect with them. That's what I talked to her a little bit more about as well. Yeah. What do you think is, do you think that this Halloween alley and everyone decorating and doing big trick-or-treating things is helpful for building the community?
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We have a great community that way, and we know we're lucky.
Yeah. You know a lot of your neighbors and know what they're
I
doing.
know all of them, yeah. We have-
Everyone?
yeah, pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing that I really like about Halloween in North America is that you get to like meet with different neighbors and socialize with them. Something that doesn't happen often in Korean culture.
Interesting.
We're mostly like we're mainly focused on like ourselves and not reaching out to like strangers. So I think that's a great tradition.
Wow. That really brings us around to the point that I think Halloween is pretty much a representation of how tightly knit a community is. If they're doing lots for Halloween, it makes them it means they care about their neighbors and their neighbors' kids and their experience they're having.
Yeah, I would also agree very much that how they celebrate Halloween, how they get together, and how they socialize with the neighbors is how Halloween should be celebrated.
Well, thank you very much. That concludes our time today on the deadly discussion. Here, I'm Thomas Adams with my co-host,
Jonah Jung.
and we will catch you on the next time. Have a happy Halloween, y'all.
Happy Halloween.